How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, where things are, kicking off as usual. There's things happening. Makina's at the center of it all. Yeah, should be fun, as always. Again, it's all been very short stories, short things going on. I keep waiting for that beach episode. We're gonna see. I'm guessing the beach episode is some kind of focal point. Maybe it's like like I said, the launch point of the branches. So we'll get to it obviously when it's time. But until then, we're just gonna keep going with the shenanigan train ride. So without further ado, let's jump right back into it, shall we? All right, Makina, what do you need?
Nani, Maki-chan? そんな普通の対応じゃ困るのよ。もっとこう深夜の通販番組っぽいテンションで乗ってきてもらわないと。
Okay, so again, Makina wants to play pretend.
わかった。それじゃもう一回最初からなのよ。巻いてかないとケツカッチンなのよさ。
Okay, why? What are you doing? Mere moments after Makina stormed into the classroom, she runs right back outside. What was that all about?
さあね。またマキナが新しい遊びでも考えたんじゃない？
I agree, Amane. I'm just vibing now.
サッチン殿はおられぬか！ここに。おお、サッチ殿。早速ですが、拙者と共に城へ来てくださらんか？
I see. So she's starting like a adventure imagination game?
わかりました。かたじけない。チルチル様、サチ殿をお連れいたしました。ありがとう。だからチルチルももっと役作りするのよさ。
But how are we supposed to know?
もうめんどくさい。わかったわよ。その方の働き、まこと大義であった。下がってゆっくり休むがよい。
I don't know what change happened in the tonnage there. It's actually pretty cool though, because it does sound like elevated. It does sound more like formal maybe, but I'm not sure why that happened. Like, I phonetically, I mean. Like, is it like the rhythm changed and that's all, or did the tone increase? You know, it's funny because like I'm terrible at linguistics. I've struggled to learn like other languages. It's just one of those things that's just tough for me. Even English, I struggle with a lot of the laws and rules of the language itself. But I also find language so fascinating. Like I wish I were good at it.
はは。して、みちる様、何故私をお呼びになられたのでしょうか？実はサチに用意してほしいものがあってな。なんでございましょう？マムシご飯じゃ。マムシご飯？そうじゃ。サチよ、主はマムシご飯を作ることができるか？可能にございます。ならば、今日の夕げまでに見事用意してみせよ。
Why is she talking like that?
わかりました。
Including the conversation with her standard phrase of acceptance, Sachi leaves the classroom at once.
なんで芝居がかってたのかは聞かないけど、つまりうなぎが食べたくなったと。そうそう。土曜日は明日だからフライングゲットみたいな。
Wait, looks like a bullish day. That has to do with markets. That has nothing to do with, or maybe that is a market thing, like eat eel when the market bulls. I don't know, that's weird. The other thing is apparently eel is really, really good. I don't know if I've ever had it, or if I have, it didn't leave much of an impression, but apparently it's actually really delicious, so I have to try it sometime.
一応言っておくけど、土曜の土曜は土曜日という意味じゃないわよ。
Okay, yeah, I was right about that.
そうなの？それ以上のことはきっとあなたの部屋のパソコンが丁寧に教えてくれるわ。人のことをバカにして。でもよくマムシーなんて言い方知ってたわね。そう呼ぶのは京阪の方だけなのに。昨日ネットしてる時にちょっとね。 やっぱりパソコンから得た知識だったのよさ。
Why are you making fun of her for learning from the computer? Like, why is that a weird thing?
いるわよね。ネットの百科事典を少し覗いただけで自分が賢くなったように感じる人って。
Oh, okay. She's super proud of the fact that she happens to know a factoid. In any case, they say eel is great for refreshing physical energy. Man, never a bad thing to get a little extra vigor.
だからって別にいやらしいことを考えてたわけじゃないんだからね。
Well, you're the one that took it there. He could have meant that you could be exercising. Come to think of it, the Mamushi pit viper doesn't lend its name to the eel dish alone. It also lends the name to the male aphrodisiac.
あんたは何を言おうとしてるのよ。
ボリューム少し下げてもらえる？
Hey, what? Put that down. I'm not the one being loud here.
はい。
Oh, it was to her. Okay. She looked at the camera with that pose, so I thought she was talking to Yuuji. I was like, uh-oh.
ま、せっかくの機会だし、今日の夕飯はみんなでマムシっていうのもいいんじゃない？サチのことだから6人分は用意してくるだろうし。というわけで、榊さんも参加だからね。
You're usually obedient today. She probably just likes the sound of the food.
別に。ただ小峰さんの仕事を増やすのがバカらしいと思っただけよ。
Ah, I see. Sakaki seems to be aware that any resistance she might offer would end in her defeat at the hands of the Demon Lord.
はい。というわけで、早速キッチンにやってきました。来ちゃいました。
Sorry to interrupt, but I have a question.
はい、お兄ちゃん。
Why are you doing this in my room?
それは雰囲気よ、雰囲気。別にあんたの部屋を選んだことに深い意味はないんだから。
The thing is, like, it's funny because, like, it's probably just the tsundere act, but again, immediately her saying that makes me think otherwise.
いや、ここでドヤ顔になられても。
設定を維持するのも大変ね。
はい、自分のことは棚にあげるユミコのことは放っておいて、早速料理の方に移りましょう。
Yumiko's raging hypocrisy.
それでは、サッチン先生、どうぞ。お待たせしました。
Amazing.
こう言っちゃなんだけど、さっちゃん少し汚れてない？
No way. Did she go into the ocean for eel? Just as Devane says, Sachin entered the room with a muddy mess. There are leaves and twigs sticking out of her hair.
すみません。材料の調達に少し手間取ってしまいまして。
What?
まあ、そこら辺においそれと売ってるような食材じゃないもんね。そうか？で、下準備にはどれくらいかかるの？もう少しだけ時間をいただければ。オッケー。それじゃあマキナ、サチの作業が終わるまでのつなぎは任せたわよ。了解なのよさ。
Hey, Bob!
Oh no.
なんだい、ジョニー。
Oh no.
約束の時間までもう少しあるし、ひつまぶしでも食べて暇つぶししないか？
So she's doing the parody of the Japanese like comedy, the two-man comedy set. But like, is the voice actor actually doing those voices? Because it's amazing. Like, it sounds like a whole different person.
おいおい、ジョニー、ジャパニーズジョークなんていつ覚えたんだい？それこそ暇つぶしにね。はあはっはっはっは。
Oh no.
ごめん。やっぱ先進んでいい？はい。サチ、そっちの具合はどう？あとはこれを火にかけるだけです。
So, cooking lesson number 1.
さすがサチ。持つべきものはやっぱりできる後半よね。ぐっすん。
Aww.
でも小峰さん、ご飯の方はその鍋でも炊けると思うけど、マムシの方はどうするの？
この鍋で一緒に調理しますよ。へえ、そんな作り方もあるんだね。はい。
そんな調理法あったかしら？
Now that she mentions it, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to boil the eel separately, then mix it in with the rice after the fact. Oh no. That's not an eel, that's a snake. And it's still alive. Just as an uneasy confusion begins to spread around the room, the pot's lid pops open and a long slender thing emerges.
何？ あれ、
You better not hurt that snake. You better not hurt it. I'll have some words.
何って、蛇じゃないの？
ヘビね。
To be more specific, it appears to be a venomous Japanese pit viper. Oh no! Popularly known as the mamushi, compared to the common rat snake, the body is distinctively thick and short. Alright, now let's just calmly put the lid back on, which will actually make the snake feel more comfortable, not less comfortable. And then you carefully carry it outside. Because here's the thing, gonna say this, I'm a big fan of snakes. I think they're really beautiful animals, also highly misunderstood. So, yes, encountering a very venomous snake is a dangerous thing. But the thing you've got to understand is that the snake sees us as an alpha predator. It doesn't see us as food. It doesn't see us as a way to, like, extend its life in any way. No matter what snake you encounter and how you might feel about that snake or how it's like behaving, it doesn't want to hurt you. Those snakes do not think that they're in a win scenario. In fact, even the venomous snakes who know that their bites can drive away even larger like threats understand that if they strike at something, it's most likely going to kill them. Kind of like a bumblebee, where it's like a bee understands in its instinctual way that like if it stings somebody, like they're gonna die. It's very similar to that, where a venomous snake, the venom isn't so much about like taking down enemies. It's more about trying to prevent future of its kind from being attacked by providing bad experiences. You know, kind of like a poison tree frog. So the idea is that a venomous snake does not intend to fight you to the death if it can avoid it. It'd rather just get away. It's terrified of you. You're humongous, and all snakes like slither on the ground, so we look horrifically tall. I mean, it'd be like what makes things like Titans and Attack on Titan scary? They look goofy, but it's because they're so big and strong. Like, that's how a snake feels towards us. We're just giant monsters to them. And so, honestly, as long as you don't bother the snake won't bother you. If you're careful, you can even pick up a venomous snake and not have any repercussions of it, but it's going to likely interpret that as an attack. So unless you do it really carefully, it might just strike at you because it thinks you're about to eat it. Most of the time, if you have a venomous snake, just stay out of its way. In fact, the reason why venomous snakes are dangerous is because they like to, they hang out in warm but dark places, because dark is where it's safer. And warm places is where they've got to go because of their reptilian nature. So oftentimes they just are hanging out somewhere and you happen to step on them and then they bite because they're terrified they're about to die. Can you blame them? Most of the time that's how it goes. Most of the time venomous snakes aren't ever horrifically aggressive. They're only aggressive if they think that they've got no other choice. And sometimes then they'll come at you to maybe scare you off. But most likely a snake that's coming towards you doesn't even realize you're there. This is a common thing for rattlesnakes because people will think rattlesnakes are very aggressive because sometimes they'll be out in the middle of the desert or tundra, and suddenly a rattlesnake will start coming toward them on the ground, and people will freak out. But the thing is that the snake, again, it doesn't see very vertically and its vision isn't very good. So if it sees what it's likely doing is it's seeing a shadow and it's like, oh, that's a comfortable place to go and hide because it's going to be warmer over there. Because remember, they often have abilities to detect heat. General heat temperatures, so they see the ground around your feet being warm but also a shadow, which is nice and safer. So most of the time if a snake is coming toward you, it's just coming because it thinks it can curl up in your shadow and hang out because it thinks you're just a big tree or something. Then you freak out, then it freaks out because suddenly the big tree is moving and trying to step on them. At least that's what they'll think. And so for a rattlesnake, they rattle their tail to try and scare you because they're like, look, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. That's all it's saying. So what is all this rambling about besides the fact that I clearly really like snakes? It's actually that this situation is not very dangerous. The snake might have felt kind of scared when she first got it. But now that it's been in a pot covered up for a little while, and now that it's kind of warm in there, it's actually probably really comfy. And it's probably just kind of curious what's all the noise about, really, It's very easy to remedy this situation, but they're about to probably make this a huge, huge thing. So let's jump into the chaos. Oh, she killed it! No! Oh, that's really sad. That's really sad. I was just going on about how cute the snake is, and it doesn't mean any harm. After a long moment in which the world seemed to stand still, Sachi abruptly decapitates the snake with her kitchen knife. Impressive swordsmanship.
ありがとうございます。
The snake didn't deserve that. When I look to my side, the previously enthusiastic Michiru is as pale as a ghost. What's the matter, Michiru? It's just a kitchen knife, nothing to be scared of.
そっちじゃないのよ。
So what is?
鍋からヘビが。
It's not really a snake anymore. What, are you scared of Mamushi vipers?
マムシっていうよりはヘビ全般？
Aw, I understand. They're kind of like spiders. It's like, I get why people get scared of them, but it's not deserved.
というより長い生き物が苦手なんでしょ。
ごめん。私。
Oh, so she's got a pretty bad one, because she's like about to pass out. With a few weak words of surrender, Michiru sinks to the ground with a soft thump.
チルチルが死んじゃった。じゃあ、さっちゃんが作った料理は後でミチルに食べてもらいましょうか。
Oh no.
そうね。
勝手に殺すなーっていうか、アナーキーの食べ物を押し付けるなーと思ったらすぐに生き返ったのよさ。
ヘビ嫌いなのにマムシ並みの生命力ね。
うまいこと言ったつもりか。
Yeah.
それよりサチ、私はマムシご飯が食べたいって言った。はい、なので私もマムシご飯を作ったつもりなのですが。あんたが作ったのはマムシご飯じゃなくてヘビご飯じゃないの。ということはもしかしてミチル様が食べたかったのはうなぎの方だったんですか？
Yes.
だから私はそう言ってるでしょうが。
The snake died for no reason.
わかりました。そういうことでしたら念のために用意しておいたこちらのうな重を。だったら最初からそっちを持ってきなさいよもう。
Today I learned that Michiru has issues with creepy crawly life forms. Also that it's important to be precise in your terminology when making a request of Sachi. That poor snake died for no reason. It didn't want that. Human beings are multifaceted creatures. Yeah, we are. Especially because they just brushed off the death of a snake for no reason. It's not uncommon for someone to seem one-dimensional at a glance to reveal a dramatically different side under the light of investigation. Many people don't stop at being two-faced. There are plenty of us out there, 3 or 4. A simple case might be a scumbag who sometimes plays the good guy, or vice versa. These multiple faces are part of what make people interesting, but they also complicate our relations with each other. The people living in this norm are no exception to the general rule. Sometimes I wonder if Makina even thinks in Japanese. Her actions and words are so garbled, Sachi's extraordinary obedience and obsessive honesty are equally mysterious. Anyone could guess there's more to those two than meets the eye. But Amane can be oddly evasive and poker-faced at times as well, and even our mentally drained airhead Michiru has markedly uncharacteristic moments. I think it's safe to conclude everyone here has something to hide of a hidden side.
んで、一体いつユミちゃんは出れるの?
Why would... Okay. Say what? I'm killing time in the lobby after school and Makina suddenly approaches me with a strange question. Dere? What do you mean by that? Isn't that the same Dere from Michiru's tsundere, the lovey-dovey side of a split personality?
そうだよ。他に何があるっていうのよさ。
I'm glad I didn't go into what dere means. I figured you guys would know, and it explained it, so it's like, I like how I wasn't that redundant that time. Dere is by now a fairly common slang term, where the contrasting soon suggests a pointed, hostile attitude toward others. Dere implies the complete opposite, a sweet and friendly approach. The widely known tsundere personality exhibits both behaviors, creating a strong contrast or gap that many find attractive, apparently. Personally, I'm not particularly well informed on the subject. I mean, you know everything you need to. And the other thing that's interesting, a tsundere makes a fun character in a show, but like if you actually, I think I've said this before, if you knew somebody like that in real life, especially to the extremes that's brought about typically in media, it would just be really annoying, if not downright like shocking. I don't know if it would actually be considered that attractive. I think what I and other people who like tsunderes find attractive is more about like a girl who, I guess it could be a guy technically, but it's almost always attributed to a girl, where a girl who doesn't take crap, you know, who like knows what they want and they're willing to do it. They're not shy, or they don't dance around things being like politically correct or, you know, super just savvy. It's more of like, it's the aggressive assertiveness that I think we like. I don't think it's necessarily the violence, which is kind of what I think a lot of media has misinterpreted. People who like tsunderes don't like someone who beats up people randomly. I mean, maybe some people are into that, but I think the majority of us would actually like that. What we really like, I think, is a girl who is just confident and willing to do what they want when they want, and like doesn't feel beholden to others to dictate what they want and how they want to do their, like, spend their time or do their activities. That's really what it is. You can have confidence and be and not have to be the traditional typical tsundere, but tsunderes project confidence. So if you like confidence in a girl, then that's what you like. While I have some interest in the pseudo tsundere, Matsushima Michiru is a subject for observation. My curiosity is entirely directed toward the less artificial elements of her personality. Yes, I agree. She is interesting, but the tsundere attribute itself isn't especially interesting or appealing to me. In short, I don't really give a damn. To ask a question like that, I think you first need proof that Sakaki has dere tendencies, or at the very least, concrete grounds to support that conjecture. Do you possess any such evidence? For starters, I ask Makina about the premise underlying her question, on the off chance that there might be some rational thought behind it, on the slim chance.
ねえよ、そんなもん。
Look, kid.
ねえけどさ、だって思わね？あんなにごっつりと周りに壁作りまくって孤独を気取ってたら。
That line's been cut for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why the line stopped there, but it was a fun one to hear, but okay. That would certainly be a striking contrast. In that respect, the theory of Sakaki seems to line up with the standard tsundere concept, but I have to say, though, I don't think she really fits that neatly in the tsundere category.
世の中にはクーデレって人種もいるのよさ。
Yeah, little did they know, those tribes would become even more and more branching and narratively applicable to most modern anime. I see, kudere, is it? I picked up this term somewhere as well. Seems the popularity of the tsundere concept gave birth to a variety of species. The kudere has particularly proved durable enough to gain its own semi-independent status. Unlike the outright aggression of the kun suggests a cool, indifferent attitude. The kudere feigns apathy, keeping others at a distance by means of apparent disinterest, but secretly craves intimacy. To date, Sakaki Yumiko has certainly demonstrated a consistently cool attitude, if not the lovey-dovey side of the equation. Makina, do you want to make Sakaki go into dere mode? For what reason?
興味本位。
Everything you do is for your own amusement. I see. If Sakaki herself happened to hear that response, things would probably get even chillier, but I guess it's foolish to hope for anything more from Makina. And you are expecting to accomplish something by complaining to me?
そうそう。だからお兄ちゃんにも協力してほしいのよさ。
Okay. You want me to cooperate in turning Sakaki dere?
んだ。
I quietly fold my newspaper I'd been reading earlier, stand from my seat without a word, and walk off to my room. Just as my hand reaches the doorknob, Makina's round face reappears before my eyes, her shoes screeching on the floor.
おい、何しかとして部屋へ引きこもろうとしてんだ。こっち来て話の続き聞け。
This can only end badly, Makina, I hope you realize. Unfortunately, I have no interest in any of this. Gotta try others instead.
やだよ。この計画はお兄ちゃんが参加しないとうまくいかないんだってば。
Why?
それはほら、ユミちゃんだって女なわけだし。
Okay, I think I get what you're going at, but that doesn't necessarily qualify you. Well, it's true enough that I'm the only male in this dormitory, but I don't think that really works in my favor when dealing with Sakaki. If anything, quite the opposite. She seems to see it as something of a strike against me. I don't think that really makes... Hey, Makina! Without even waiting for my response, Makina shoves me back toward the lobby.
いいからこっち来るのよさ。もうみんなも呼んであるし、お兄ちゃんだけスルーとか許さないのよ。
A group meeting for this crap? That night, everyone except Sakaki gathers in the third floor laundry room. Why do we listen to her? Amane and Sachi seem to be operating as normal, but Michiru, apparently forgetting about the meeting, had to be dragged out of bed. She's stifling a weary yawn at the moment. At the center of the group, Makina gleefully surveys her troops. That then begins to explain.
というわけで、皆様にお集まりいただきました理由は他でもない、榊由美子についてであります。
I kind of get why, because she's so standoffish, it makes sense that anytime we do like a collaborative like social experiment, it's gonna end up being on her, but like it's kind of becoming repetitive.
すでにお兄ちゃんには話したけど、黒髪、そろそろデレとかないとキャラも弱いんで一丁どうかなって思った次第なのよ。
I feel like this is getting a little meta on the behalf of the writers, because like obviously like it's being played off as Makina just being like conflating like reality with fiction, but at the same time, this is something the writers technically can be doing. Like they might be specifically writing her to be a kudere. Now, I'm guessing again, like a lot of the best visual novels I've read is that you'll have characters that seem to reflect these, tropey types, but then you find out that there's just so much more depth to them. It's just like whatever the front is seems to represent a trope. Again, it's what like Michiru, like her whole tsundere is clearly an act that's hiding the real person. Like, so it's again, I think these are kind of like, these are kind of call outs by the writers, kind of like saying, hey, look at this. Like, we know what we're doing. Spreading a large sheet of paper on the table, she writes the letter Y in permanent marker, circles it vigorously, and adds on the note Operation Dere to the side.
というわけで、同志たちにはこれから冷徹女をデレさせるために各自作戦行動をとってもらうこととする。作戦決行は翌一蓋丸々より。何か質問は？
You literally haven't told us anything.
榊さんが？なんか全然想像できないんだけど。ですね。私には氷の霊障しか思い出すことができません。
That's not true. We've seen that. We've seen her be a lot more amicable.
見てみたいとか思わねえのか？二人。そりゃちょっとは思うけどね。
That's a cute face.
マキちゃんがどういう作戦を考えているのかわかりませんが、返り討ちにされてしまいそうな気がします。
Thank you, Sachi. I appreciate it.
この日和見主義め、もうちょい乗ってきたらどうなのよさ。
Amane and Sachi respond at once with outright pessimism. In the first place, we've been forcibly dragged to this point on the assumption that Sakaki has a hidden friendly side, and that's nothing more than a guess based on a common personality type. There's no real reason to believe that pattern has to apply to Sakaki. Amane's known Sakaki the longest of all of us. For what it's worth, she's clearly not buying into the idea. It seems entirely likely that this dere Sakaki is something of a Bigfoot, the product of an overactive imagination. I do have to pause here. Like, obviously she's gonna have more to her. That's kind of what the prelude was all about anyway. But even as humanistically, while a lot of us can be very introverted, ultimately we're social creatures. So for someone to genuinely just dislike being social and interacting with people and having relationships of any kind is very unlikely. Now, there are some real things could be going on here. Again, trauma-based stuff is always tough to deal with because it's never going to follow any true logic. It's just going to be kind of a facet of a person, and there's something they have to wrestle with. Hopefully, it's usually something you can work through, but like that takes effort and just like usually intervention by a specialist. Secondly, she might not express her emotions in the way that we might expect. I mean, we know she has a caring side because she does go out of her way to interact with us. Like, if she genuinely just didn't care about being interacted with at all, she just never would be around. Instead, she is around for a lot of things. And even if she's rolling her eyes and being sarcastic or hardly participating, the fact that she still is around shows that she has some desire to at least be kind of around and get involved, even if it's detached. She still has that desire. So there is a bit of her that deep down does want to be social and does want to have connections. And then finally, there's also something that I just don't think was on the radar probably when this was being written, but another very realistic thing would be something akin to, I don't know, is it like, I think it's like asexualism. I know someone who is asexual, and like the trouble with that is that when it comes to romance and like getting in, like being like in a relationship or anything, like not even just like the physical side of it, but like pretty much the whole bag. It's just like just not really much that interest there. There's just, I don't know, maybe it's an imbalance of some kind, or so it's a personality trait or whatever, but it's like it's just never been a priority, never something to think about. Even like watching like romances, I remember like he would talk about how like he would watch romance movies like on dates or with friends or with family or whatever, and like when they would be like like the people he's around are talking about like how cute and adorable and like how much they're cheering on for the people, he would be constantly focused on the acting and the set pieces. Like he would see the framework rather than like the material, because it just wasn't interesting to him. But it's interesting too, because being asexual doesn't mean that you don't end up forming bonds. Like he did later get married, but like he even expressed at the time, like he talked about, he says like, look, like I got married because I found somebody who I want to be with for the rest of my life, someone who like understands me and like whom I can be myself with. And like for them, there is a level of intimacy and romance, and I don't mind doing stuff like that with them. But like that's like for most of us, that's like a very prominent part of a relationship. Where for him, it wasn't. It just for him, it's kind of like a bonus or like a thing that he just deals with, and he's okay with that. But like it's just interesting because it's a very, very small subset of people that end up experiencing these feelings, but they're very real. So, like, I would argue that she could be facing that, but I'm getting the distinct impression, especially from the fact this is a dating sim type of game, that that's not the case. But could be. If I were actually here, I would bring up that maybe she just genuinely isn't interested, and there wouldn't be any dere there. It'd just be wherever she is. What's more, we're talking about a woman prone to swinging blades around when provoked. As Sachi says, if we adopt Makina's likely rash and aggressive plan, there's a possibility we'll suffer some casualties.
あのユミコにデレですって。
But just when I think we've reached consensus, one of the group reacts differently. As a PT, pseudo-tsundere, with a contrary personality of her own, perhaps Michiru being subtly influenced by the possibility of discovering a comrade of sorts. In any case, unlike the rest of the group, she seems genuinely intrigued by the idea.
あ、チルチルが反応したか。さすがはツンデレだな。見直したぞ。
Oh, well, there you go. Makina is like the queen manipulator.
こんなことで見直すな。つか何を一体見直したのよ。わけわかんないわよ。
へえ、みちるは榊さんにデレがあるって思ってんの？
いや、絶対にそう思ってるわけじゃないんだけど、
何ですか？
なんか、あの子全然笑わないからさ、ちょっと笑ったりとかしたら、それだけでもなんか安心するというか、そう思って。
That's interesting. That means Michiru's approach is a lot more like on a deeper level. She's like, look, I've never seen her smile. I've never seen her happy. I genuinely would like to see that someday, because I feel like it would help me feel like she's not like living a life of a constant existential dread. Existential dread. There we go. My tongue is not happy today. Everyone's like, that's oddly wholesome.
何よ、いきなりみんな黙っちゃって。私なんか変なこと言った？
いや、なんか珍しくまっとうなこと言ったなーって思って。
らしくねえな、チルチル。あんたらね
ー。いいのです、みちる様。普段のどうしようもない言動とのバランスを取るために、あえて友達思いっぽい言動を混ぜて均衡を保とうとするその心。
God, the psychic...
私にはわかります。
And the psychic battering keeps continuing on.
全然わかってね
まあ、みちるの言うことも一理あるし、あの鉄仮面さんにちょっとはニコニコしてもらおうってことならば私は賛成だけど。はい、私もです。
おお、みんなやっと乗ってきたな。
I feel like the goal has shifted slightly from the original dere objective, but it seems like our motive is now slightly more respectable than Makina's desire to amuse herself, so I'm not going to complain. Okay, so I guess the next question would be, what sort of operation did you have planned out, Makina? Makina flashes a toothy smirk, takes her marker in hand and once more, and confidently scribbles the word compliment carpet bombing on the center of the paper. You know, speaking from my perspective as a non-kudere, if a group of people suddenly burst into the room and just started assaulting me with compliments, I would be shocked, flattered, and suspicious within a very rapid succession.
ユミちゃんに会ったら、とにかく褒めて褒めて褒めまくるのよさ。目と髪を褒め、服装を褒め、持っているペンを褒め。これはキャバレーの鉄則でもあるのよさ。
I see.
えらくまた正攻法というか、馬鹿正直というか。
女なんて褒めとけば機嫌よくなる生き物なのよさ。
あんたもその生き物だって自覚ある？確かにストレートですけど効きそうな作戦ですよね。
It's honestly a strategy that probably needs to stretch out over the course of like a week or several weeks rather than a mass assault all at once. It's going to seem too suspicious. But if you can make, and also like the other thing about compliments is that they need to be genuine. They don't need to be complicated, but they should be genuine. And that's the thing, it's kind of funny to me. It's like, if you can wield compliments in conversations, I've always been very good at that. It comes from a place of wanting to be considerate and ultimately liked. Especially when I was younger, I was obsessed with the concept of making sure people didn't hate me. And so I developed ways to try and make myself endearing. One of them is actually genuine compliments. But the thing is, like, they need to be genuine. You can't just be throwing around like things that sound nice. People catch on to that really quickly, and it just doesn't work anyway. Plus, I've been a recipient of that many times. It doesn't feel very good, especially later, like when you reflect on it. But if there's things that are very true, like, if it comes from the heart in some way, even if you're trying to artificially make a compliment, as long as it's coming from a place of genuineness, it actually will work like 99% of the time. One of my favorites is socks. I've always been a fan of interesting socks, and you'd be surprised how many people will wear socks that are unique, either like colors or patterns. And so it's one of those things I'll casually might notice, and I usually will compliment on, because if someone goes to the trouble of wearing interesting socks, it's usually for themselves, but it's something that you can observe. And so if you compliment on them, saying like, "Oh wow, I really like your socks," like it puts them on cloud nine, because if they go to the trouble of picking out like socks that aren't just like standard gray, white, or black, and you like notice and compliment it, it kind of comes out of nowhere. But it's understandable that you would notice unless they're like hidden, and then you're kind of validating their own taste. It just knocks it right out of the park. Always a happy one. And when I genuinely do enjoy like really fun, interesting socks, which is really to say, but like it's not so much like it's not like to the point of like, you know, something a little untoward or fetishistic. It's more of actually, I just think that they look fun. I think. For some reason, socks get so much more creative than like shirts and other parts of clothing. For a piece of clothing that's often hidden. Also, like, it's funny because like if I gotta be honest, it's weird to say this, but like it's probably gotta come out. A lot of people make jokes about how people get obsessed with feet, especially on the internet. I'm the opposite. I would rather they stay covered. So maybe that's also a reason why I'm a fan of socks, because like then I don't have to look at feet, because I find feet to be kind of I don't know, just my thing. I'm glad there are people out there who appreciate them, and I don't have a problem with them in the large scope of like that keep them away from me. But like, why not just wear some cool socks? Like just because I find that more fun. So maybe it's like a reactive state for me, but still good compliment strategy. And then it happens with anything else, like hair, eye color, clothing that they're wearing, maybe an action that they've done, or an event or an interest that they have. Like another way to compliment someone is actually just showing genuine interest in something that they like. So if Yumiko walks in and she's reading a particular book, just asking her, "Hey, what are you reading? Is it interesting?" And like letting her talk about what she likes, and genuinely listening and asking like impactful questions, not just like, "Oh, okay, huh, interesting," or "Wow, that sounds cool." Be like, "Okay, so is this similar to this series?" Or is there a character that you find most engaging, like digging a little deeper for actual context? If it's something that they genuinely enjoy, people love talking about themselves and what they like. Get them talking about themselves and what they like, and you're gonna be on good terms in no time.
そっか？そ そもそも作戦ってのはもうちょっとこう交渉で難解なやつの方がいいような気もするんだけど。
Sometimes the best strategies are simple, though.
こういうみちる様のようにパスタ食っとけば幸せみたいな生き物が大多数ですし、効果は十分に期待できるのではと思います。
Yeah, you eat pasta, you get really happy. That's pretty simple.
ちょっと何よ、パスタって何よ。そりゃ好きだけど、食べてるとき幸せだけど。好きなんじゃん。
幸せそうですね。
Seems like there aren't any particular objections. In that case, we might as well give Makina's strategy a try.
了解。では全員私の指示に従うのよさ。
That's a terrifying concept. Alright, let's see Operation Make Her Smile.
榊さん。はい。
おはようユミコ。いつ見ても綺麗な顔してるわよね。
That might be a little too off the wall.
榊さんは目が綺麗なんですよね。だから一層顔が引き立つ気がします。
That's a good one.
ちょっと何なの？
そうね。でもやっぱり私は顔全体かな。小顔だし、顎もシュッとしてるし、そういうとこがやっぱり。
Oh gosh. Yeah, see, we went from she went from shocked to genuinely pleased to now suspicious.
ですね。全体的なバランスがいいから綺麗なんでしょうね。
制服もすごく似合ってるし、ねえ、どうやったらそういうって、あれ？
榊さん？
ユミコさん？
言っちゃいましたね。
あら、珍しいわね。榊さんがここにいるなんて。
Surprise coconuts, okay?
お？
Yep, double surprise.
ユミちゃんここの風呂なんか来るんだな。
Triple surprise.
ちょっと。
ねえ、ここ座っていい？
Oh, this is gonna be an interesting one to edit.
別に構わないわ。人の体を頭から足まで見て、何の用かしら？
Gosh, that's gotta be weird.
いや、改めて見ると榊さんってバランスいい体してるなって。なんか運動とかしてんの？そうでないとこの体型は維持できないよね。だよな。マネキンっての？ああいう感じだよな、これ。
I'm also seeing a potential issue. Makina's so short. Coconuts are going to be necessary, but they're also going to be getting in the way of some of the lines. But yeah, so it's like for a mannequin in a pinch.
いいな。私もちょっとだけ痩せてお尻小さくなったんだけどさ、榊さんの見てるとバカらしく思えちゃうよね、どうにも。
Yeah, this is gonna be a problem for the YouTubes. I'm not sure how to do this scene, actually. It honestly might have to be a conversation I cut and just summarize. It's unfortunate.
ユミちゃんのが岡山の桃だったら、甘ねえのは植木のスイカだよな。それはともかくとして、いい体してるわよね。
Don't put Yuji
これ
into
なら
this.
ユージだって。あれ？榊さん？
やめてちょうだい。私先に出るわね。
どうしてだろう。機嫌損ねちゃったのかな。なんだありゃ。生理か？
Oh gosh.
おっさんみたいなこじつけの理由つけないでよ。
Alright, so... Okay. We have a bit of an issue. I'm either left it in or not, but I'm just gonna have a quick chat, because I need to know what your thoughts are there. So... The trouble is, I have to censor things on YouTube. That's a given. But in that scene, unfortunately, the poses and positions for Makina require that some of that censoring actually cover up some of the lines. So I guess I need to have a bit of a seat at the council. Obviously, it's pretty clear kind of what was going down in that scene, so maybe I'll keep it in and just edit it how I need to with the coconuts. But it would be, I know just in hindsight, what's going to happen is that's going to be fairly invasive and difficult to read. Now, whether or not you agree with censorship or whatnot, obviously, like, I don't care for, like, the game's purposes, but for YouTube's sake, I have to. Now, is it so interfering that I need to, like, mitigate it by maybe reading out some of the lines? Or, like, is that necessary? Again, also, like, the other thing I was thinking of, like, we could just cut it out and I could summarize the scene. I imagine that would be frustrating because we miss out on some of the jokes and all of that, but at the same time, it's like, is that really necessary? Is that really, like, what it's gonna take to make sure things are okay? I don't know. It's challenging. It's not really something I can easily do. I might also, like, the coconuts might not have actually appeared. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might have utilized a different tactic altogether just because of the nature of the amount of movement and changing poses. There might be a better way. It's just going to take a little bit more creativity. I might have to lean on the classic old trope of smoke and, like, steam, just in my own not subtle way. But regardless of that, like, I need to know what your thoughts are, because this kind of thing is likely to happen again. If it's consistent, and especially if anything that needs to be censored is above, like, the speech bar, there's really no problem. Not at all. That's easily workable. But when it's not, it's like, how do I do that in a way that's not too problematic for, like, the story? But anyway, if you happen to be listening, please pause the video, let me know in the comments below. Like, I'd love to know what your thoughts are about, you know, how did I do with whatever future me does with editing. And then, like, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think things should be played differently there? Like, I just don't know. So, yeah, but this definitely turned into a much bigger bear to edit, that's for sure. It's gonna take me quite a lot longer now. That's okay. I knew what I signed up for when I put the mod on. So anyway, let's see how this works itself. Yo! No need to stalk past me without a word, is there?
別にあなたに用事もないもの。
Yeah, she seems really grumpy now. Maybe not, but I don't think many people would take that as a valid excuse for completely brushing off your classmate.
それで、何の用なの?
Nothing in particular, just trying to be reasonably friendly myself.
だったら、私は行かせていただくわ。それじゃ。
Come on, it's nothing getting angry about. Scowling like that, you're just gonna put your beauty to waste.
ちょっと、あなたもあの一件に絡んでるの?
On what specifically? Can't say I know what you're talking about.
急に何か私のことを。もういいわよ。失礼するわ。
Yep. The group's heavy sigh resounds through the lobby.
作戦は見事失敗に終わったのよさ。
Next, our strategist mumbles an admission of defeat. We continue to stubbornly press Operation Dere until the very end, but our barrage of compliments never produced anything resembling a positive reaction. Quite the opposite. Sakaki's strengthening resistance prompted frequent retreat. Well, I guess it's only natural you get a little suspicious when everyone you know suddenly starts complimenting you simultaneously.
やり方がまずかったわよね。もっと自然にできたらよかったんだけど。そうですね。フォーメーションも不自然というか、ミスマッチでしたし。
Exactly.
おっと、ここで大本営批判か。憲兵をよこすぞ。あんたが考えなしにやったのも一因でしょうが。後悔はせん。未来のために反省はするが。
何格好つけてんのよ。つか反省してね。
Well, in any case, I suppose we now know that Sakaki doesn't react to this sort of flattery.
パスタで満足するタイプではなかったということですね。
If only it were that easy.
だからなんでそこで私の方を見るのねえ。
And so Operation Dere fails to produce the desired change in Sakaki Yumiko. If anything, it seems to have brought her attitude from cool down to outright chilly. Alright. Well. The next day, I'm heading to Sakaki's room in order to drop off a package of hers that arrived in the group mail delivery just now. Normally, I just leave it be, but this cardboard box was large enough to protrude dangerously out of the mailbox. I've thoughtfully decided to bring it to her directly. Is Sakaki in? At this hour, she should probably be somewhere inside the dorm. There's no sign of her leaving this morning, so her room is most likely a possibility. Sakaki? It's open? Oh no. I have a feeling this is gonna end up somewhere. The door to Sakaki's room stands slightly ajar. Sakaki's normally pretty careful about her privacy, so this is a distinctly unusual situation before I realize that I'm peeking through the opening in her room. Hey, Sakaki? And in the center of that room, I'm startled to find a spectacle quite unlike anything I've ever witnessed before.
Neko.
Oh, it worked. It worked! Haha!
お尻ちょっと大きいかなって嫌いだったけど、そんなこ
Aww.
となかった。
It actually worked. Oh, that's really sweet.
制服もちょっと浮いてるかと思ってたけど。
She's so cute.
顔も。
Sakaki? To summarize his behavior in one phrase, out of character would be most apt. Sakaki twirls in front of the full-length mirror she's placed in the middle of her room, muttering happily to herself. She examines her features one by one, grinning broadly all the while. Aww. I wish it wasn't the chibi version. It's hard to believe this is the same Sakaki who shot down Makina's operation, let alone the woman who approached to social interaction cycles between disinterest, rejection, and occasional fits of homicidal rage. And is this dere? Muttering a foolish question to myself, I pull my right foot back in and attempt to retreat. Oh! Fetch! But the door groans on its hinges and Sakaki spins around to face me.
Kazami-kun!
Mail just came. Got a big package, so I came to drop it off. I'll just leave that here.
見たの。
Friend! It might be kinder to say I wasn't, but unfortunately, I'm an honest man. Is it? She's gonna die now. Congratulations on the small butt.
そう。
Oh, yeah? Are we gonna go to weapons again? I see. Okay, see you later. I close the door and break into a full arm-pumping dash away from the scene. It's not that I'm particularly afraid of Sakaki's attacks, but I don't think there are many people out there who'd willingly choose to get slashed by a box cutter. I'm certainly not one of them. Especially given the sincere promise of violence in Sakaki's eyes just now. But that's dere, alright. No matter how slight it may be, no matter how well hidden it is, it's actually kind of pleasant to know Sakaki does have that side to her personality. Every human being is a multifaceted creature. Seems that rule of thumb applies to Sakaki Yumiko as well as anyone else. That was very cool. I liked that. That was a very fun end to that. Oh, fetch! Today's the beach day! Beach day! We're gonna stop here then because beach day is gonna be next episode. Sweet! Yeah, that's exciting. So we're gonna go ahead and end it here for today. Beach day it is. Oh man, for Christmas week and everything. Christmas really has come this year, hasn't it? It's gonna be really fun. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. It means the world to me that you're here, especially to the new members and patrons who have been joining recently. Thank you so much. I hope that whatever brought you to the decision to support this channel directly, I hope I can continue to perform and to produce content in a way that makes you like feel validated in that choice, to feel like you can continue with that decision, and that like as long as it's like not like putting you out at all, obviously, but I appreciate it. It means the world to me that you're willing to support me like that. But then don't feel like you have to. The fact you're watching and viewing, that's plenty. Especially the comments for this section, especially because like I had to be a lot more experimental with my edits this time. I know I really would love that input because it helps me just understand, you know, where I need to take things and like how things need to be like played out. It's gonna be interesting just because I need to make some decisions. I don't know what ended up being in the finalization. I was frantically thinking about editing while I was doing the video, so I'm gonna try some stuff, and whatever ended up being on the output, let's see what it is, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it. Like I said, the only reason why I probably stepped away from coconuts this time, because like that is the fun running joke for the channel, is the fact that like when it starts interfering with the text, I need it to be as uninvasive as possible. So yeah, we'll just have to see. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. It means the world to me, and I look forward to being able to continue this beach episode next week. So let's all get excited for that. But until the next video, watch me, you'll see me next. I'll see you there.